And it's 2 minutes past 8 here on 101.5. Third and final hour of the bigger, brighter Brekkie Show, and we always dedicate this final hour on a Thursday to SportsFeva. And for all those long-term fan of SportsFeva, well, what a surprise, he's back. The man that helped start SportsFeva, Mr. Andre Grimaud. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Matty. Good morning to our listeners. Good to be back.
It's great to have you back. Of course, our man that's starred this year so far, Swampy Marsh, gone down with man flu.
He has, and I feel for him because I had it the week before as well, and quite a few people having it in our region. It's not a good one either, I can tell you. But no, good to be back. Good to bump Swamp off his perch. Bit worried about you though, Matty.
Why is that?
I'm wondering how long you're going to be hosting SportsFeva.
Why is that, mate?
Well, rumours are after The Voice, and we've seen the stardom that Keith Urban's reached on the back of The Voice, that that you're looking beyond SportsFeva and to brighter pastures. We heard you on the call on Saturday night at Caboolture and Bribie Island. Darren Robinson fell off his chair laughing at an incident on the field. You took over the commentary, and now you're emceeing the big games out at Kilcoy for Queensland Cup Country Week.
No, always Moreton.
The rumour's true.
No, always Moreton Bay. You know, I'm all about Moreton Bay. I don't want the spotlight. I'm just about local sport.
Keith Urban and Chris Eden said the same thing, but look where they've gone.
No, I'm all about Caboolture and Redcliffe.
So the rumours aren't true?
No, I can dismiss them well and truly right here and right now.
Okay.
So we can rule them out. But
the tyrant of Tullawong is remaining true to his base.
I'm solid to Moreton Bay. You can lock that in.
Good.
So, but it's great to have you back, and we've got an action-packed show this morning. We're talking to our the number one ticket holder of the Dolphins. Now, it's a huge Sunday. This is the biggest game of the year. I think nearly the biggest game in the last couple of years outside of finals in the Queensland Cup. This is enormous, this game.
Yeah, big one, Redcliffe and Wynnum Manly. We know it's the Herald Cup, and we know that both sides love that rivalry, but we're also talking top two. And in fact, top two in Colts as well, and Wynnum, I think, a fourth in the Fox Cup as well. So across all three grades, you've got finals-bound teams. It's going to be a cracking day, and hopefully there's a bit of spice added to it by the Redcliffe Herald yesterday. Just outlining a few reasons why Redcliffe dislikes their chip-heading mates down south. And look, big crowd expected, free entry too.
Yeah.
So get down there. Should be a great day. Wear your red and white because there'll be plenty of green and red down there too. The Wynnum supporters we know are loud and proud.
Absolutely. So that's coming. We'll talk to Rupert in only a couple of minutes' time. Also at 8:30 this morning, we're talking to Steve Gray, the media manager of Queensland Cricket and the Brisbane Heat, about their signings so far. Both Queensland Cricket, a couple of big signings. Khawaja signed on with the Queensland Cricket, and Nathan Horrocks has come back home. And a few of the Brisbane Heat signings, some enormous signings so far for the Heat. They've looking at the early signings, you'd say they'd nearly start favourites in the BBL this year.
Yeah, and a bit of talk this morning, and last night too. Shane Watson's already signed with the Heat. Hasn't come officially from the Heat themselves yet, but that's big news. Although fair chance he probably won't
play a game. But anyway, he's for promotional value alone.
He will use his
that's huge.
And his friends to promote the Heat. So I'm sure that's what they're banking on.
And finally, some local rugby league. We give local rugby league a great push here on the show, but the Burpengary Jetstra Club we haven't spoken about a lot, I guess.
No, and a great local club too. They do feed into the Dolphins, but look, they stand alone too as a great local footy club. Good junior base. Got some exciting news on the horizon, which we'll talk to President Dave Bennett about, and also a big game this weekend for one of their top junior teams or sort of almost Colts age team. They're under 18s. So we'll talk to Dave Bennett a bit later in the show.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Well, we've got a song to play for you, and then we'll be back to talk to Rupert McCall about the big clash on Sunday, the Redcliffe Dolphins taking on the Wynnum Manly Seagulls. And let's hope the winger races away, either Delroy Berryman or Liam Georgetown on the weekend when the Redcliffe Dolphins do battle with the defending premiers, the Wynnum Manly Seagulls. And to talk about the big clash on Sunday, we got the man that bleeds red and white, Rupert McCall. Good morning to you.
Matty Duncan, Andre, good morning, boys.
Now, Rupert, Sunday, we just said before, Andre and I were talking just before we had you on air, probably the biggest game, non-finals game in the Queensland Cup for a couple of years, I reckon.
Absolutely. These games are the reason why you get out of bed. They're the reason why, you as a player, you put in that extra yard of the hard yards, in pre-season training, because there's no substitute for grand finals and finals football, but this is the next best thing. It's a blockbuster. It's the two best teams in the competition this year. It's the Weather Bureau predicts good weather. It's a television game. It's a big crowd. It's a game at Dolphin Oval. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this, boys, and I am quietly pumped.
And Rupert, let's be honest, we hate Wynnum, don't we?
We do. Absolutely.
And that chant and their rabid fans and the toffee apples that walk through the gates at Dolphin Oval and try and take over, it's probably time to turn them away, some unhappy customers this weekend.
Well, there'll be a flock of seagulls, invading Dolphin Oval on Sunday afternoon, a bit like Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. It's a scary proposition, and we need the people of Redcliffe to know that this invasion must be repelled. I mean, we've got to fill that place with red and white. They'll be coming for, to put the wind up us, to claim victory. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they got us in round one over there at Cougaroy Oval. But this is it's a new day on Sunday, and I get down on my knees and I plead with the people of the peninsula and beyond to don the red and white and get down to Dolphin Oval, because you won't regret it. It's going to be one of those memorable games, and it's going to be close. Let's not be fooled into thinking that Redcliffe are going to run over the top of Wynnum Manly. Two great teams. Paul Green will have their boys charged, and John Dixon will have Redcliffe Dolphins running out of that tunnel with absolute 100% energy and enthusiasm, and I can't wait.
And in all honesty, I mean, I know we like to play up the rivalry, but they do set the benchmark, the Wynnum crowd, and it's a great challenge for Dolphins fans to rise to, because it's great for the game to have passionate fans. But on the field, Rupert, what's it going to take? We know they were clinical when they beat the Dolphins in the final at Dolphin Oval last year. What's it going to take to turn things around against a side like Wynnum, which we know's on their day, as the ladder proves, best in the comp?
Well, it's going to take everything that we've put out there for the last month. We've been playing good football. There's no doubt about it, but we can't forget how we've managed to achieve that. And yes, Matty mentioned at the start, we have been passing the ball around, boys, and our wingers and fullbacks, and the Bonds, the Berrymans, the Georgetowns, and the centre combination, which changed a little bit this week. Big Paul Ivan, the Colossus, is out, but what a great replacement! And Aaron Whitchurch to come into the side with Marty Hatfield, and Luke Capewell suffered a little bit of a scare on the weekend, but he's back, and also young Maury Kennedy. I mean, we've got a great back line, but we cannot go wide before we go forward, and the boys up front need to lay a platform. We've got to get that right. We've got to get it right early. We've got to let Wynnum know that they're going to be in for a massive arm wrestle all afternoon. Nothing is going to come easy to the opposition. And if we put our best foot forward in that respect, then we'll give ourselves every chance of victory.
You mentioned Ivan getting injured last week. It was a brutal affair against Sunshine Coast, who certainly turned up to play some tough footy at Kilcoy. And just wanted to get your thoughts on Country Week. Still some speculation as whether or not the QRL will stick with Country Week. Those that were out there at Kilcoy on Sunday, I was among them. I thought it was a terrific day and a terrific endorsement for country footy. Have you heard any rumours out there, Rupert, about the longevity of playing these Country Week games?
No, I haven't heard any, but I'm prepared to make one. I'm prepared to throw one out there. The rumour is that this is great for rugby league, and if you want to, everyone likes to talk about, throw out the cliches of grassroots footy. Well, this is it. It's in the veins of people in those areas, the game of rugby league, Kilcoy, and I hope they played a game in Moranbah as well on the same weekend. I believe that it's a wonderful concept, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my rumour. It's here to stay.
Yeah, it was a fantastic day. And we've seen some Dolphins greats from the Kilcoy and Woodford and surrounding areas. I've seen Dave Moffat in the crowd, Bevan Blakely as well. So it was great to see some of those former Dolphin greats in the crowd, really soaking up country week and getting back to the roots of rugby league. So it was a great day out for everyone at Kilcoy. But we turn our attention to this Sunday. It's free entry. The gates are open. We've pushed it. We're pushing it more. Get there in your red and white. 3 great games of rugby league across the day. And if you can't get there, it is on Channel 9, but we're encouraging everyone to try and get there on the day to drown out that Wynnum chant. I can't stand it, Rupert. That Wynnum, it annoys me.
No, bugger the chip eaters. They can, they can give it their best shot, but we need to muscle up in the crowd as well on the hills that pay tribute to the late great trio of godfathers, Desmond, Patrick Webb, Tosser Turner, and more recently Donnie McLean. We need to fill those hills with the red and white chills and give the boys a lift. Give them the thrill of a big home crowd. Don't forget, it is a television game, so it starts earlier. You want to be there by 2 o'clock at the very least. And I've got a couple of young boys here. My sons, Jake, Jimmy, and Lachlan, who I believe are going to be running the match ball out after kick-off. So they're very excited. I've got Lachlan here. He's going to say a quick word to you boys. Lachlan, say hello to the boys.
Hi.
G'day, Lachlan. How are you, mate?
Good.
You excited about Sunday?
Yep.
And are you a Dolphins fan, Lachlan?
Yep. Go to the Dolphins.
Oh,
Good man.
Sums it up beautifully.
He's pumped. He's building himself up for the big afternoon. But that's what it's all about. Bring your families, tell your friends, tweet your friends, get it out on Facebook. The whole peninsula needs to be there to it really is the start of that run into finals, isn't it? I mean, it gets serious. Not that it hasn't been already, but when Isaac Armel, leads our red and white troops onto the sacred hallowed turf of Dolphin Oval, he needs to hear a roar.
I can't wait for it. I'll be roaring, you'll be roaring, Andre will be roaring. We'll be all there Sunday. It all starts, well, I reckon get there as early as you can, about 10:30, I reckon. You'll see 3 great games of rugby league, but main game kicks off at 2. Rupert, we'll see you there, and thanks for joining us again here on SportsFeva this morning.
Thanks, boys. I'll see you there with my sarsaparilla snow cone.
Sounds good, mate.
Cheers.
Rupert and Lachlan McCall there, Andre, pumping us up for Sunday's big clash.
Yeah, and if you've ever been down to Dolphin Oval, you'll generally see Rupert and the boys having a kick at half-time and after the game as well. They bleed the red and white, and you can't get too much more passionate than a cry from Rupert to, I guess, a call to arms, isn't it? A rallying cry to get down there if you're a rugby league supporter, but certainly if you're a Redcliffe Rugby League supporter. Should be a great day. There will be a big crowd down there. We know that Wynnum will bring their troops up. And as we said, there will be some terrific action on the field.
And the Herald Cup, of course, on the line as well. So that was a trophy very special to the late Des Webb. That Herald Cup battle out between Redcliffe and Wynnum each season.
The margin's 8 points, for Redcliffe to retain the cup. And what a finish to last year's Herald Cup with that famous field goal from Todd Murphy just on the buzzer. Well,
we were both there, Andre, last year. It was decided last year. It was the game after Des Webb had passed away, and with the schools locked together. He's now at Sunshine Coast, unfortunately, but Murphy kicked the field goal well behind the post. We let out a big cheer.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was a terrific end to a terrific day, and looking forward to this Sunday. And as Rupert said as well, heading towards the finals. Things are just shaping up. Norse is coming into a bit of form now, and you've got some real jostling. In that top 4, top 6 even, and it's going to be a great run to the finals. Yeah, I can't wait. This Sunday, be there. I don't care what else you get on. Cancel it. Get to Dolphin Oval Sunday in your red and white. Good plan? No worries. We've got a quick song, and then we'll be back with our Over the Moon segment. 24 minutes past 8 here on 101.5. You listen to Sports Fever with Matthew and Andre. That was Billy Joel. We didn't start the fire. Joining us on the line now is Shane Moon, the worst tipster in Australia. Good morning to you.
Good morning, boys. Morning, listeners. Morning, Andre. What would you know about rugby league, mate?
Oh, mate, it wouldn't matter listening to your tips, Shane, because I wouldn't be learning much off you. But good to hear your voice.
I tell you what, anyone following my tips are going to be bound to be broke by the end of the week.
You're going bad. Now, you're unlucky this week. You've drawn with our contestant from last week, but a draw's not good enough. You've got to win to get the points, so you haven't done enough.
Mate, I'm always handicapped. I'm married. I've got a job. I'm always handicapped.
You follow Parramatta.
No way.
Parramatta in New South Wales, you're up against it from the start, really, aren't you?
Absolutely, especially when you guys are calling the shots in there. You always work against me. I'm sure you write my down the wrong way.
Well, we simply don't like you, Mooney. We don't mind you. We tolerate you, I guess. Before we get on to the NRL, just want to have a quick talk to you about last Saturday night. We were out there, 101.5, calling the big local derby in the Sunshine Coast Gympie Rugby League. The Caboolture Snakes took on the Bribie Island Warragals. It was their third clash this year. And Mooney, despite the scoreline, I think it ended up 62-16. Those Bribie boys can, hold their heads up high. They put in a real effort on Saturday night.
Mate, you're absolutely correct. When you look at it, they started real good for the first 10 minutes. Then they had about 20 minutes of really bad football. Then they finished on top of the first half and come out in the second half, and they sort of started all right, but then they went to sleep for 20 minutes. In that 20 minutes or 25 minutes, Caboolture rattled up, 42 points or something. So it just took the game right away from them at that stage, and they finished strong with a try just on full time. And, mate, the boys are outclassed, as we've discussed, but they are a bunch of goers, mate, a bunch of good blokes having a go and enjoying their sport.
Mooney, I wasn't at the game, but tell me who's impressed you in the past few weeks in this turnaround?
Mate, there's a couple of new guys that came up a couple of weeks ago. A hooker who used to play A-grade with Caboolture, mate. He's awesomely well, and a lock forward. He brought a mate with him. And then you've got your really good Ben Glenn Armstrong's in a purple patch of form for an old bloke.
He's been a mainstay of that side for many years, hasn't he?
Mate, he's got the hands of an old Sheila at the moment, but he runs the ball well, he carts it up really well, he's been offloaded well, and then you've got Luke and Denny Deans back from an injury that we didn't expect. We thought he had a season-ending injury to his shoulder, but he came back last week, and, mate, he was instrumental in a lot of our ball work around there. And we had a couple of the old Bribie boys set up that have been away working in the country in the mines and that, mate. They turned up and they registered on. They played one game at the start of the year and they played again. Morgan Adams, he had a blinder.
Yeah, quality footballer. Now, tell me about this big lump of a lad, Lionel Crawford.
Mate, he's huge, absolutely, and he's a goer, mate. Needs a bit of fitness. He is a big boy, needs a bit of fitness.
Don't we all, Shane?
Mate, I think we all need that, don't we?
Well, we better get into the tips for this weekend, but it was good to see Bribie. I think they can get a win before the end of the year, Mooney.
Mate, it's going to be a tough one this weekend. Sunday trip to Gympie. I would bet at a pinch that Gympie will be resting their NRL players, their stars, and be going with their A-grade side, less those guys that travel a bit. So we're hoping anyway. We might be able to give them, catch them by surprise. Yeah,
well, fingers crossed for the Bribie Island Warragals. Now, turning our attention to the tips, you're up against Kathy from Caboolture this week. I won't reveal her strategy yet, but she's gone with a fairly simple strategy, and she thinks it'll beat you anyway. So let's see how you go. Eagles versus Bulldogs.
Mate, I just can't get impressed with Manly. They've been playing really out of form at the moment, and the Dogs have been going well, and I think they'll continue that run. I think they'll knock Manly off down there, Brookie.
The Doggies. The Titans take on the Broncos.
Mate, Phil Patch is talking to me again. I actually got a gig. I'm heading down for that game with Kellen and some of the other boys, and I think the big fella there from the radio station, I wouldn't be game to back against the Titans. I think Titans at home could get the better of the Broncos. Very, very close game, but I'm sticking with Titans.
You going the Titans. Your boys Parramatta take on you could say, out of form Melbourne Storm.
Mate, there's a braver man than me that would back against Melbourne Storm. They're always only 1 minute away from another win, so they've lost 3 in a row. I can't see Parramatta getting close in this.
The Warriors at home take on Wayne Bennett's Newcastle Knights, and he weaved a bit of magic last week, Uncle Wayne.
Mate, he's been doing really well the last few weeks. The Knights have had a couple of good wins. They're playing really good. Actually, when you watch their games, they've stopped dropping the ball, and their percentage for finishing sets are a lot higher. And that's the name of the game today. You get to your fifth play and put a decent kick in with a good chase, and I think Newcastle got a simple game plan, but I think the Warriors will be too strong over there.
Warriors for you. Now, the Rabbits take on the Dragons.
Mate, Dragons, I think, are like Manly. They've had a couple of good wins lately, but they're up and down. They're very hot and cold, and I think the Rabbits are a picture of consistency this year, and I'm going to stick with South Sydney, mate.
You go the Rabbits, who got out of jail Monday night. Now, the Sharks take on the Raiders.
Mate, Raiders, again, they've had a couple of good games lately, but I'm backing against them. I think their form's going to peter out again. I'm going to get Sharkies back in the winning circle.
Sharkies to return to the winner's circle. The Penny Panthers take on the Sydney Roosters.
Mate, this is another 50-50 each way, and I'm going to go with Panthers at home. They usually are 5 or a 10-point better side up there, and I don't think the Roosters have much. I think they're more of feather dusters, mate.
He's potting the Roosters, probably get on them for the premiership now, Andre. Now, and the last game, the game I'm looking forward to on the Monday night, the Cowboys take on the Tigers.
Mate, I've been backing the Tigers all year. They've been good. They've been playing some good football of late, but I think the trip to North Queensland with a full squad back up there in North Queensland, I'm going to go with North Queensland at Dairy Farmers, mate. You
go for the Cowboys. Well, Kathy rung in with an easy strategy. She said she doesn't know much about rugby league. I said, well, that's fair. Either does Shane Moon. So it's a fair battle this weekend. And she says, I don't know any of the teams. Just give me the away teams. So you've ended up with, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games different, Mooney. So it'll be an interesting battle. So let's see how we go. With her strategy of tipping away teams compares to your, getting the rugby league week and the big league and all those magazines you study. Let's see who has the better strategy.
Mate, you've got to study the form. It's like the horses, mate. You've got to be studying the form on the winners. Well,
if your form is anything to go by, that's probably not the best lead. Anyway, Mooney, we know you're a busy man this morning. You're off at some conference or something. Is it a footy tipping conference or what's going on?
Mate, I'm down here on the Gold Coast, Sun and the Body, at a conference about to head into a plenary session, mate, and then another big night, I think. I'm suffering at the moment. Well, we better let you go, Mooney. Thanks for, I'd like to say thanks for your tips, but I'm not going to say that. Good on ya. Thanks, guys. Thanks, thanks, listeners.
I think we just lost half our listeners when he said he was on the Gold Coast Sun in his body, but good on him. It doesn't mind backing himself. He does. He's a confident man. I don't know where the confidence comes from, though. I can't work that out. But have you come across a worse tipster in any code, not just rugby league, like any code? No, but I'll tell you what. There's a growing legend down in Melbourne about Cameron Smith's AFL tipping. Have you heard about this one? I've heard, but tell us a bit more. He's won the Herald Sun tipping, which obviously some of the best AFL pundits or critics in the game are all part of the Herald Sun tipping competition. And Cameron Smith, the Melbourne Storm Queensland captain, has won the past 2 years, and he's looking the goods for 3 in a row. And from all reports, he does love his AFL and apparently watches more AFL than he does NRL. So there you go. There you go. No, he's a good job. He's a smart man, Cameron Smith. One of the smartest footballers I think I've ever seen, and that's putting him in the category right up there with Wally and Lockie. So he's a smart man. Who does he support in the AFL? Do we know? I believe he's got close ties to Hawthorn. He's a few of his few blokes that he hangs around with down in Melbourne. The Burgoyne boys all play at Hawthorn, so I think he's got some interest in Hawthorn, but as far as donning their colours, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, well, fair enough. We've got a quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be back to talk some more sport. 21 minutes to 9 here on SportsFeva with Matthew and Andre. And joining us on the line now is Steve Gray he's the media man at the Brisbane Heat, and it's been a busy, I guess, last week or so with big name signings for the Brisbane Heat for the next series of the Big Bash League. And good morning to you, Steve.
Yeah, good morning, Matty. Good morning, Andre. You're right, it has been busy, okay. We've had a hectic 10 days or so of it so far.
And I guess news started to filter through last night. Well, we'll start with this one. There's been some huge signings, but I guess maybe the biggest one, and he's one of the biggest names in Australian cricket. There's rumours floating around that Shane Watson has signed on the dotted line for the Brisbane Heat. Can you confirm that for us this morning?
I'm happy to confirm that. Yes, that'll be right. We'll be pushing send on a media release to that effect pretty shortly. But yeah, that's right. Shane's agreed to a 3-year deal, so he'll be joining the Heat across the next few seasons. Obviously, he's still an Australian player and a very important one at that too. So we're just looking at the fact that hopefully he's going to get some games in for the Heat when it suits. And I know Cricket Australia and the BBL are pretty keen for the Australian players to play when they can, and they're trying very hard to juggle a pretty complicated playing schedule to allow that wherever they can. But it's great to have someone like Shane involved. He's a world-class player. He's a very good person within a playing group. He's very dedicated. He certainly knows the value of hard work, and obviously coming home or coming back to Queensland and certainly to be closer to family and friends from Ipswich and the like, he'll be. I'm sure he'll enjoy the opportunities he gets to sort of put teal on and we'll get on the go to play 2020.
And Steve, Andre Grimo here. The reports coming out this morning, obviously in the Courier Mail, are that he may not even play a game for the Brisbane Heat, depending on his national team commitments. Tell us about the strategy in terms of using Watson as a marketing tool for the BBL and for the Brisbane Heat, and how important that is.
Look, it is important in the sense that I guess you're trying very hard to potentially attract new audiences to the game, or at least people who potentially may not be dyed-in-the-wool cricket fans. And one thing with Shane is obviously he's if people have been casual watchers of the sport and the like, they would have seen him playing on free-to-air television for the Australian team. So look, he's recognisable. Certainly, he's one of the eminent sort of or preeminent players in the Australian team at the moment. So that helps you. Look, we're reasonably confident that he's got at least 2 games in him for year one, and maybe more depending on a few things. But we're hopeful that's going to be the case. But look, even if he just plays 1 game, it's still going to be good for us in a sense. But down the track, you would hope that in seasons sort of 2 and 3, there might be some more chances for him. And if that's the case, then we benefit again. But he's a good unit. Look, marketing wise, look, you don't want to base your team around just one player. And I think what you'll find from this year, that the Heat squad that's been assembled is pretty much players, virtually the squad from last year, a bulk of it has been re-signed, which is a good thing. So people are going to at least have a chance to have some continuity and have some relate to the likes of Dan Christian and Dan Vittori and people like that, Peter Forrest, Ben Cutting. And guys like that, they're hoping to sort of, they'll get to know, I think. So. And
let's be honest, Steve, it's a great cricketing side. Dan Vittori, as you mentioned as well. Harris is in there. Hopes you re-signed also. Chris Hartley, the keeper, you've re-signed. There's a lot of talent in there.
Yeah, it is. And look, it's largely homegrown, and that's good. But one thing about the 2020, which is actually quite exciting, is that it does give us a chance to sort of build some bonds with players like Dan Vittori and Dan Christian, from interstate and overseas. And look, with 24 hours or so to go, there's still a few signings to come. I gather that Darren Lehman's happy to pull them. I reckon he's looking at probably keeping a couple of spots up his sleeve, say 2, maybe 3 spots up his sleeve. Certainly 2, I reckon, up his sleeve for later in the piece. So we'll have a couple of signings to come, I would think, between sort of tomorrow and before 5 o'clock tomorrow. Any
other big Queenslanders in the mix there for those last few spots?
Well, potentially. There's like all these things. As I'm finding out, there's some of the recruiting is done very simply, and it's literally just we all agree and let's make it happen. Others, there's you've got to work a little bit harder, and potentially you've got to factor in some other considerations. And look, where I think the Heat management team are working pretty hard to make sure they try to get the best of both worlds and keep those people happy they want to keep happy, and we'll work a bit harder for the ones they're trying to lock in. So look, all I can say is I think with 24 hours to go, I reckon fans will be pretty happy with the squad that he put together, and the fact there'll be a couple of spots spare just gives us a little bit of flexibility, maybe a chance to pull something late. just before the start of the tournament in December.
Like a good cricketer to play that one with a nice straight bat and fend it away nicely without giving away too much. We talked about some of the big signings, we mentioned them quickly, but two true blue Queenslanders, I guess, or true teal Queenslanders we'll call them, and they were Shield heroes last year, Hopes and Hartley. They're two important signings, I think.
Yeah, very important. And James Hopes as a captain is probably look. He's fearfully underrated, Hopesy, I reckon. In a way, he was, even when he was playing for Australia, and that not too long ago either. He probably should still be playing for Australia. Some would argue. He was just a guy who just got and did his job, no fuss, no bother. It doesn't really seek the spotlight, and is more than happy to put the team first. So, one thing we all tend to overlook a bit with him is that a very good cricketer, and certainly I think we missed him a bit sort of around the top of the order last season for the Heat. He only played the one game, and I just think if he'd been in that mix for those other sort of 6-7 games, it just might have been an innings there that might have made the difference between us, say, losing a tight game and winning one, and that would have been just the finals probably. So we missed him probably more than we let on, I think, last year. And I think with him, let's hope we get the best of him this season, because he's a fabulous cricketer when he's going, and a very good cricket brain. Chris Hardy, look, just sets the examples all over the park. Just does the right thing, does the 1%ers. He's 30 now. He's in his prime, and he just makes it work harder. He was a few blokes who was in to the Bulls doing pre-season training just because he said, I want to give myself every chance to start pre-season training on a good nick. So he's done well. But in saying that, I should mention him and Hopes you both did enjoy a bit of an interlude to America during the thing for James Hopes' wedding. So they can't be completely athletic and looking after themselves entirely if they've had a wedding in America.
No, that's right. Now, I guess the one final thing is about this year we're noticing with BBL. It's the first year you've been allowed to sign the multi-year contracts. First year you could only sign those 1 years, but we're seeing all these 2 and 3 year deals. And it's great for the brand, Brisbane Heat, that you can, the public get to know the players and we'll have that core team for a couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. And look, what you'll probably find is that there won't be signing windows for the next couple of seasons now, I don't reckon, unless the BBL try to sort of create one. But at this stage, I think we've had some. The last 2 years have probably been the examples of how it may work. But I think, now the guys signing 2-3 year deals. I see one of the Melbourne players, Glenn Maxwell, signed a 4-year deal. So look, there's certainly some. For fans who want to identify with the teams and adopt the team and make a side their side, it's great. They get to know who's going to be in there for the next couple of years, and that's good. It helps us too. Some young cricketers like Alistair McDermott, for instance. It means he sort of has his future nicely assured. But he's 21, and so the next 3 or 4 years, his destiny is sort of going to be sort of here in Queensland, and who knows where he takes it from there.
Steve, we'll have to get you to put your Bulls cap on as well, just quickly. We'll probably need to talk about Usman Khawaja with a bit more time in the next couple of weeks, but just a quick update on a couple of, local interests. Cameron Boyce and Luke Feldman. Feldman's signed on again, and how's Cameron Boyce looking?
Yeah, good. Both those boys have been in the gym, and they're both, I think, like all of them, I think they're in the background in the sense that they're probably not going to be getting the attention so far, but both of them in each case are pretty bloody important for Queensland. With Chris Swan retiring, Lukey Feldman takes on added importance in first class cricket in particular, with his ability to bowl quick and to bowl good long spells. And same with Cam. I know Nathan Horrocks has come up, but in some ways it means that we feel pretty confident now going to those southern climes, particularly places like Adelaide and Melbourne and Sydney, with 2 quality spinners and the like. And you reckon you can conjure up results somehow, even on flat wickets with 2 good spinners. And I think Cam, in one way, has got this is it will be an important season for him, because he's at a stage now where people will know he's a good bowler, but now he gets a chance to sort of bowl in tandem with hopefully a strong side around him, where they're bowling to good batting targets and stuff. He really gets a chance to put some pressure on and get some wickets.
Great signs for Queensland cricket on all fronts. Stephen Gray, thanks for joining us on SportsFeva.
Yeah, look forward to chatting in soon, boys. It's getting closer every day, isn't it?
We're looking forward to it. Thanks, Dave.
Cheers, boys. Thank you.
Cheers. He knows his cricket, Andre.
He does. And interesting point there just about Cameron Boyce and the season that he's got coming up, as Stevie sort of alluded to. Probably a defining season almost coming up for Cameron Boyce with Nathan Horrocks coming back. he's going to have a fair challenge ahead of him, Boyce, whether or not he can keep his place in that side.
Yep, no, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what, we'll have a Kevin Mitchell Jr., the curator at the Gabba, now lives at Bribie Island, so he's a Moreton Bay resident. Can we get him to look after Boise, maybe look after the other Moreton Bay boy, and
yeah, I'm
do
sure
up a pitch for a leg
Horace
spinner?
might even be able to turn the ball if he provides a dust bowl though. So
yep.
What works for Boyce might work for Horace as well.
We'll get on to Kevy over there on Bribie Island. We might get him on before the first test too.
Like
We've got our Moreton Bay link there now, so looking forward to that one. Quick song and be back to talk some local rugby league. It's 6 minutes to 9 here on 101.5, and that was Elton John. And do you know the original of that was the Burpengary Jets? Did you know that?
Well,
That's a true story. That's a true story. And joining us from the Burpengary Jets is their president, Dave Bennett. Good morning to you.
Morning, Matthew. How are you?
Mate, really good, and we always enjoy talking about local rugby league, and you're here to tell us what's going on in the world of the Burpengary Jets.
Yep, that's for sure. What do you want to know?
Dave, I want to know how things are travelling from a local footy perspective. First of all, I've got a few things to put to you, but I wanted to know, we're well into the season now. How's junior rugby league faring as opposed to the last couple of years?
Mate, it's growing steadily right across the state. Of course, it's no secret that the Greater Brisbane Junior Rugby League is the biggest junior rugby league competition in the Southern Hemisphere, and it is absolutely motoring along, mate. Especially the Burpengary Junior Jets.
Now, you have set yourselves up as a league nursery in many ways. You're aligned with the Redcliffe Dolphins. How's the feeder program going there?
Mate, it is absolutely excellent. Of course, we try to provide a pathway to those kids that have the skills, the ability, and the desire to do so. And I am pleased to say that our affiliation with the Dolphins is absolutely fantastic at the moment. There's been a number of kids identified for future senior honours.
Now, one of those kids who I'm quite interested to hear your thoughts on, Isaac Hardman. He's a Morayfield State High School student. He plays in your Nev Blair Shield side. He's an incredible talent. He will be playing, he will be in action for the Nev Blair Shield side against East, which is going to be a crunch game Sunday afternoon at Burpengary, 3 p.m. But what can you tell me about Isaac?
Mate, Isaac, I've been fortunate enough to coach Isaac for the last 5 years, actually, and you are correct. He is an awesome talent. And the future, as far as his rugby league is concerned, holds no bounds for him. So as long as he has the desire and the passion to do so, Isaac is one of the guys that you will hear a lot of in the near future.
You've seen plenty of kids come through the ranks and go on to play for the Redcliffe Dolphins. Do you think Isaac already been in touch with the Dolphins, and are they looking at him as a potential future prospect?
They certainly have. They've had a big rap on Isaac for a number of years now. Isaac will actually be trying out for the Melbourne Ink side next year for Redcliffe, and I am sure that's just the start of his footballing future.
And plays a bit of everywhere at junior level anyway. He can play at fullback, but my tip is that he could be a great second row fringe player. Or you're sort of on the edge of the ruck and just dynamic in what he can do.
You're quite right, Andre. He a young man of many talents. My personal preference for Isaac, believe it or not, is either play at number 9 or at number 6. I think they're his two best positions. But he's a danger anywhere. He's devastating.
Yeah, look forward to seeing him play. As I said, that Nev Blair Shield game is this Sunday at the Burpengary Jets Ground, Station Road, 3 p.m. the big day. But of course, I'm sure, Dave, plenty of junior games across the weekend now. The clubhouse, it's been on the agenda, an upgraded clubhouse for a number of years now, and good news in the last council budget is that there's about $800,000 for a new digs at Burpengary Jets.
Mate, absolutely fantastic. I've already been in discussions with both council and a number of contractors, and I am assured that it will be delivered on time and within budget.
That sounds great. All things going well. The Jets are flying, Dave, and we appreciate your time on SportsFeva, and we'll probably touch base again before the end of the year and find out how finals are going for the young Jets.
Mate, I'll be pleased to do so.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Andre.
Dave Bennett, president of the Burpengary Jets, and they are a great club in this region, aren't they? We've got a lot of great rugby league clubs in this Moreton Bay region, Andre.
Yeah, we certainly do, and look, they're big clubs too. They're big junior clubs, and they cater for their junior players really well. And the Jets have been moving on improving their facilities for a number of years. They had a federal government grant which got them some new lighting. They can now play Friday night games down there. This clubhouse is going to be taking them forward again to another level. So it's great for junior sport, as Dave said, to provide kids a pathway. Through sport is a great thing, and as I said, plenty to look forward to.
The Jets do a great job. Now, the full-time siren's about to sound on SportsFeva today. How was the comeback? You pulled up okay from the comeback?
Yeah, a bit rusty, but thanks for having me back.
No, it's good to see. We'll have to
just stay with SportsFeva though. Don't go jumping.
No, I told you I'm solid. No
auditions for the voice.
I'm here.
Like
this is it. I'm solid to the Moreton Bay region. So we'll have to put Swampy through a fitness test next week to see if he's back. You might be off the bench again. We'll see how you go.
Look forward to it.
Stand by now for the local news, and I'll be back again next Thursday for breakfast and SportsFeva.